What do you want to bet that the door behind me leads to a dungeon or a raid later on in one of the patches? So, the Ashes of Creation trilogy did really good for my channel. Especially that I was wrong about Ashes of Creation. And it's lightning I would like to try to catch twice. And I am gonna talk about Riots MMO. Like my ideas, my thoughts, what I hope it is, what I don't hope it is. And that's gonna be the video. Just the conversation starter. I will say, this game is so far out. I don't even think we're gonna see a trailer of it until the end of 23. I imagine they'll host some big event, some news thing where they talk about what's coming up on League of Legends, what's coming up on Valorant, what's coming up on League of Legends, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, that's what it's called. They'll talk about the fighter game and how that's going. And then they'll spend like 30 minutes talking about the MMO. And then they'll finally drop a trailer with a release date that says 2025 or something. If man is still alive. But with that long intro out of the way, I hope it's closer to Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft than something like Lost Ark and Guild Wars. This is gonna be a weird one, but I think I could see it almost playing like Terra, where it's action combat and you have your abilities. It could be tap targeting, but I feel like a lot of MMOs are going into action combat. And I know it's gonna be heavy on the PvP side, if I had to take a guess. And for me, tab targeting PvP is kind of hard. So I'm hoping it's action combat. I'm thinking it's just gonna have your generic classes, right? You'll have the warrior, tank. So one of the ideas I had when I was thinking about this video is how cool the loot drop could be. Okay, so your leveling process, you will still get random weapons drops in like dungeons and things. But how about this, right? So you know the build path in League of Legends, when you start out with like that one sword for 500 gold, and then you build up to like the Bloodthirster, Ruin King. Wouldn't that be cool if they put those items in the game, but actually have a build path, right? So when you're like level 5, you get like a tome or the little sword, and then you have an NPC in it. I forgot his name. He's the goat forger. And you take your items to that, and he'll craft the next step. Like, he'll craft yourself a BF sword, and you'll use your BF sword. And as you use your BF sword, you'll get it ready to be crafted into like the Bloodthirster or the Blade of the Ruin King. And as you're leveling up, you're also gathering materials and leveling up your materials. So when you get to high levels, you finally can build your Bloodthirster. And as you build it, you have runes you can collect. So do you want your Bloodthirster to help you build a tank character? So you'll put runes, like health runes, on your sword, giving your character extra health. Or you could build your character into like a glass cannon, putting damage runes on your Bloodthirster as you build it. I really hope the open-ended You know, like League of Legends. You could build a DPS to be tanky if you're in a tight spot, or if you're just snowballing, you could build yourself a glass cannon that one-shots everything. And I feel like that's really cool idea, and someone should do that in an MMO. And League of Legends is perfect for that. I hope I made that make sense. Another thing I think is going to be really cool is I always thought League of Legends had outstanding lore to it. The Shadow Isles, Bilgewater, Shurima, the Freylord, Mordekaiser being a freaking suit of armor. And I feel like it should play kind of like Final Fantasy and old school WoW, where you have starting locations depending on which class you choose or which race you choose. If you're like a bandit background, you'll start out in the deserts of Shurima with Sivir as your quest giver. Or if you're a mechanic, you'll start out in Piltover with Heimerdinger as the quest giver. I'll be honest, the classes have me stumped, but I think it's gonna be just the classes. Classic classes. I think the game should be open world. Even if there are like load screens and things like that, that'd be fine. But I feel like it'd be so cool if you're like in the markets of Piltover and then you stumble upon like a staircase. You go down the staircase and you find yourself in Zaun. What would be even cooler is if you start out in Piltover, which is a level 2 area, level 1 area, like a starting area, and you stumble upon Zaun, which is like a level 20 area, and you're like, well, I better nope out of here and come back when I'm stronger. I do hope it has classic dungeons and classic raids, especially classic raids. Can you imagine going to the Shadow Isles for the first raid, where Mordekaiser's like the gatekeeper, the DPS check, and you just crawl through the Shadow Isles fighting people like Elise and Thresh and all those bad guys? I think Argot definitely needs to be at least a dungeon boss. Annie's little teddy bear. I do hope it's stylized. As much as I hate to say it, realistic MMOs, Bless Unleashed and others, they're kind of boring to me because you don't have the big over-the-top shoulder pads, you don't have the big knee pads, you don't have the skull helmet breathing out fire. And I think League of Legends is going to go for a more comic book look. Almost anime, like the League of Legends art style. Or like Arcane. I could see it looking like Arcane. Oh, Cho'Gath, that'd be a great boss too, holy cow. I said in my last video that I did last year that I would like to see little chests hidden throughout the world. And I kind of stand by that. I think it'd be cool to see chests sprinkle here and there, but just drop little materials like gold or something. I do think it needs some kind of a story. I don't think it needs to be an Oscar winner or anything, but just enough, right? Just enough for me to care about. I don't want anything over the top complicated or 15 characters thrown at my face before the first level. But just something to get me to care about my character. I think that's something Final Fantasy does extremely well, is that my character is important. As opposed to like Guild Wars and World of Warcraft, where my character's just like playing sidekick to Jaina or something. I hope it comes out on consoles, but I say that for every MMO that comes out. Even though I extremely doubt this one will come to console, I think it's gonna miss it. Sorry, Xbox and PS5 guys. By the way, what happened to Wild Rift? Wasn't that supposed to come to consoles? I do hope it has big social hubs like this, though. I do hope the female armor sets are attractive. You know, nothing like overbearing or anything, but not like so covered up like Warcraft. Just enough to look feminine. So hope the guys' armor sets are super manly. Big shoulder pads. That's something I wish Final Fantasy has. More big shoulder pads. Can you tell I love big shoulder pads? Let's see. Can I make that jump? Ah, nope. Won't let me. That's all I had. I'm gonna review 6.1. The patch 6.1. I don't care if it gets 1 view. I don't care if it gets 3 views. I don't care if it gets 3,000 views. I love Final Fantasy and I'm reviewing that. Because Final Fantasy is my home, guys. And, yeah. Alright, well, Artifact out.